Can I ask a question though?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm sorry. So since we're on this black on black platform, like, are we supposed to support everybody that's black?
No.
Thank you guys for being here. We got Zoe, we got MsBasketball, Christina in the cup, we got Shivy, and we got DJ Unruly. So thank you guys so much for making time for us. Welcome to Black on Black. And please introduce yourselves. Who are you? What do you do? Where you from?
So my name is Zoe. My name is Zoe, CEO and founder of Humble Hustler. It's a brand just to highlight entrepreneurs and supplying a lot of effort and pressure behind the scenes. We also help women start a business. Originally, I'm from Mobile, Alabama, so I've been here since country. Yeah, so I've been here since 2014. So my background is marketing and PR.
Go ahead.
All right, well, I'm an exotic dancer. I know, right?
Ready to get it started.
But no, my name is Christina Granville, aka MsBasketball, affectionately known as MsBasketball. I am a radio and media personality on V103 Atlanta. I am also the CEO and founder of I Hoop 2 Foundation, which is a foundation geared towards young girls to push them through the game of basketball, whether it be on the court or off the court. I am everything that includes good energy, positive vibes, pushing the culture forward, especially women. And I am also a people person. And I say that because I love people. I love being around people. I love sharing my energy and pushing them to be the best person they can be. So do all that. And HBCU Esports League, I'm broadcasting the first Black African-American, all that. So
Black
it's
on
super, black on black. I also do it with another girl named Bria Janelle. We both co-host that, but it's super dope to be in a space where we celebrate blackness and we are celebrating individuals who make up that gaming industry, which is about 83%, but only 2% are actually in the gaming industry. So super dope to be a part of that, making history, and out here just doing, letting God lead me.
Just to feed off of him, my name is Rue. Okay, I'll give y'all my real name. My name is Rue Jerry Rosenberg. Rue Jerry.
Okay.
Everybody calls me Rue. Unruly. DJ Unruly. I've been doing events since college. Started DJing back in 2016. I'm a ball of energy. As y'all can see, I'm still the last thing you say. I'm a people person. That's really what I do. But before all of that, I've been in branding and marketing since like 2009. Doing that as like, funnel the money, the funnel the dream kind of thing. So I do branding and marketing as far as content creation, elevating brands in any way that I can, from helping with the production to small things like flyers, logo, and just building brands overall. And I'm still the last part of what she said when it came to just being a people person, like overall energy and helping people chase their dreams. My branding company is called Rev Creative Agency, and Rev in French means dream. So Dream Creative Agency, what I do is I help people bring their dreams to reality. And aside from the branding and marketing, I help people do that just overall, from conversations at parties, like, what do you want to do with your life? What do you really want as far as like inspiring people? I hope that my journey can inspire others to do what they want and not what they think other people want them to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shivy.
All right, let me go ahead and sit up.
There you go. There you go. No, the gas, my name is Alfred, Shivy Brooks. That's my first
The
name.
whole time.
It's right there on the gram. I by day am a high school economics, personal finance, and government teacher here in Clayton County, Georgia, which is South Atlanta for those who don't know, South Metro Atlanta. I am a owner of a clothing line, merch line called Alfred's Laundry. Created a hoodie that kind of went viral since the end of last year that says my vice president is a black woman. I am a host of a Instagram live show called Teacher Talk Live, which is widely viewed, especially in the Black teacher space on Instagram. I'm the founder of an organization called Teachers for Good Trouble, which is a national movement of almost 500 educators throughout the country who are pushing back against the use of standardized testing in our school systems. Created a nonprofit called the Hope Organization, which creates opportunities for young people to access promise. And so what that looks like is, at the very beginning of the pandemic, we fed over 1,000 families throughout the country in collaboration with Shaquille O'Neal and his Papa John's stores in Atlanta, which is actually where I met Chris for the first time. We're both influencers for Papa John's here in Atlanta. But we have also done a virtual prom for students where we raised over $30,000 for scholarships for kids here in Atlanta and throughout the country. I put on virtual events, coach Black and white educators on being anti-racist, anti-bias, and decolonizing the school curriculum. And most recently, I have announced a candidacy for Atlanta City Council at large. So we're just here to represent for those of us who want to see some forward thinking and promise in the city of Atlanta. So it's a joy to share space with y'all, and I'm excited to get into this conversation.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't follow that. Let me sprinkle a little bit of more on mine because I kind of like. I hate talking about myself. I really hate talking about myself, so I always like push through like, hey, this is what I do. But I didn't say where I was from, so I'm originally born in Haiti. Lived there for 7 years. Yeah, so I was born there, lived there for 7 years, and moved to New York when I was 7. So stayed there for 4 years, but I've been in Georgia most of my life, Conyers, Gwinnett, all around, and then Atlanta became really home, and that's where I really fell in love with us. You know what I mean? Us and our culture. And I'd be amiss if I didn't talk about the Black and Black brand that I started like 2 years ago, but it really picked up last year to really just promote positivity and excellence in us, and really, there's so much on social media that just portrays, the negative about like what we do and everything like that. So I feel like we can never have enough brands that show the excellence in that people can come to the page or wear the merch that promote and exude our Black excellence. Also, one of the founders of a nonprofit called Everyone Eats Foundation, where we do exactly that. During the pandemic, we fed over 1,000 people and families in need. Our pillars are education, empowerment, and enrichment, and that is, of course, for us. It's for everyone, but mainly focused on Black people and just everyone in the community. We partner with literally everyone that we can because we know that we can't do this by ourselves. It's going to take a community to build and feed the community. So that's my little sprinkle.
Okay, so my first question to start the conversation off, so when you think of the words Black on Black, what first comes to mind? Anyone can tackle that first? Like you're Black on Black.
I will say, I don't like to exude any negativity when I hear Black on Black. The first thing I hear is what we've been, kind of trained to think about when we hear Black on Black. But as the years have gone by, it's been more focused on, the energy that's been being exuded from everyone of supporting Black business and bringing each other up. So Black on Black for me is being Black and Black and
Hey, I love you.
Yeah.
I think, to echo what the brother just said, I think it immediately comes to mind is mysteries. Just kind of a lie, a big lie about what it means to be Black in America that has been perpetuated, where we're trained to think or to believe that Black people are perpetuators of crime and that we disproportionately have an impact on crime against each other in comparison to other communities, which is an absolute lie. We in fact don't. truth is that crime is about proximity. And so in white communities, many times the crime community gets there, it's about white people.
Right.
Same thing in Latinx community, same thing in the Asian community, as true is in the black community. But it is a coined term, a phraseology that's been used to dehumanize us, to criminalize us, and to make it easier to penalize us. And so it's one of those narratives, along with, black fathers are not present, or all the rest of the mistruths, when studies prove that's a lie.
Yeah.
In fact, it's the opposite. We're the most involved. So it's just one of those things we have to be intentional about. I'm actually grateful that you've taken that great lie, that big lie about us as a people, and spun it on its head, and used that to encompass what we're doing here. And as black folk talking about things about black folk, and there's a lot of beauty in taking things used to try to destroy us and using it to empower us. So shout out to you for that.
Thank you. But shifting this forward, so you said you're from Mobile, Alabama. You're from Florida. Initially, you're from New Jersey.
I am from Jersey.
And you're from Haiti. Came to Atlanta via New York. So none of y'all are really from Atlanta.
Yes.
So why did you choose this city? What is it in
The
Atlanta?
city chose
Yeah, for me, like, so where I'm from a smaller town. I'm from Oakville, so it's called Granville, Alabama. So population is like 1,100 people. So
you like that dude from Stone Mountain that say they from Atlanta?
Yo,
I don't know my town.
the city close to my town. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's facts, man. So like, I used to visit Atlanta. I always wanted to be here because of like the black excellence, so many black-owned businesses, and just cool people. So that's why as soon as I graduated college, I moved out. I was working at Enterprise Car Room, like in a suit, full day, but I wanted to be in Atlanta because I knew this was my market, and this is where I can actually kick off whatever it is I want to do.
I moved to Atlanta because I had a chance to visit. I'm from a small town like yourself. It's called Clewiston, Florida. It's the sweetest town in America. And it's literally the sweetest town in America. We produce the sugar. There's a sugar mill there.
We produce watermelons.
Hey, see? But I visited Atlanta, and when I tell you, I've never seen so many black people. The town that I'm from, you don't see so many black successful men and women owning who they are and where they are from. And when I came to Atlanta, I was like, that's a black person house.
Right.
That's a black person house. You know what I'm saying? Because where I'm from, you don't see that. We were still segregated. White people live uptown, we live downtown. Like, it's slowly been, integration, but it's been crazy to see. So I was like, that's lit. The tall buildings, our tallest building maybe was 2 stories. I didn't see anything like that. And I was like, you know what? I got to move to Atlanta. I had choices between New York, LA, and Miami, and Miami was way too close from home for me. And I visit every place, and LA was actually too far away from home for me. So I was like, that ain't gonna work, and people are weird there. And it's expensive. And then New York was freezing cold, and I hate being cold. And it was super expensive. And Miami, like I said, was too close. And I said, you know what? Let me go to Atlanta for a week and see how it's gonna be. And when I got here, the energy that was here, just to see black people owning stuff, to see black people on billboards, to see black people really thriving. I'm like, oh, it's millionaires. Because if you've never seen it, how can you have never been exposed to it? How do you know it can happen? How would have ever guessed that we would have a black president if we didn't see it? So I was exposed to it. I said, oh yeah. So now 8 years later, here I am still in Atlanta. I'm like, yeah, this is my home. Like, I'm not moving. I'm about to get me a house. Atlanta is my home. So I picked Atlanta and I ain't moving. I'm here to stay.
I would say for me, man, being really foreign, like I came
being really foreign.
Like legit, I came to New York and learned English in New York. Like I was still coming to Georgia, staying in Congress. I was trying to learn the culture, like how do I be American? Like I was thinking about the American dream. It's like Like all this, before I let you go, all these songs, like I learned that in college.
Yeah.
Like think about that. Like I really got exposed
Yeah.
to more of the Atlanta culture once I got to Georgia State, and that's when I started becoming more of the person y'all see today.
Yeah.
Like y'all see Lou in high school before that. Just real quiet, really observing and trying to understand like who can I be in this world, in this white America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And seeing how foreigners were not treated very well. It's a new thing that now Afro and all that
they want it,
yeah, very accepted. That wasn't it. Like African American booty scratcher and all
Yeah,
that.
yes.
That's what I was exposed
Yeah.
to. So once I got to Atlanta and then just started seeing like people on campus like the black community on Georgia State. We're not HBCU, but Georgia State is
Feel like I'm a Panther.
Yeah.
I'm a Panther. You know what I'm saying? There's no school policies there.
Yes, sir. So like going to Georgia State and seeing the black excellence, like I'm an Alpha too, so like being exposed to that and seeing what they're doing, and it just opened my mind to who I can be.
Yeah.
And once I really like dove into that and just started becoming this, it was just. I can't see myself being anywhere else because anytime I go anywhere else, after 3-4 days, I'm like, it's time to go back home. So I feel like Atlanta really it really grew me. Like that's where I planted a seed and started to really grow into who I am.
Yeah, for me, you know, my experience with Atlanta is a little bit different. My dad was a Morehouse man, and you know, he had a gap in his tenure, his time at Morehouse. He was there in '76 when Spike Lee was there, left, went back into the family thing, and met my mother eventually, and all that, and then went back to school at Morehouse in '88, graduated in '89. And so my family moved down here in the late '80s, early '90s, and I just remember, you know, right after Rodney King, marching through the streets of Atlanta with my dad, going to church at Morehouse Chapel every Sunday, seeing, you know, growing up on that campus, being best friends with the dean of Morehouse Chapel's son. And we eventually moved back to Jersey. And in 2003, I had an opportunity to be on Freestyle Friday on BET, on 106 and Park, and was retired, put in the Hall of Fame, and had some opportunities to work with folks like Sean Garrett and those type here in Atlanta. And I've been flying back and forth every weekend, just doing the work on the entertainment scene. And I was just like, man, I love Atlanta. Like, it just feels good. It feels like home. It's time to come back. And so I did. So 04, I made the move down here. I'm talking about I had $200, a mattress, I even had a frame, you know what I'm saying? A crate of clothes that I sat that TV with the hump on. Facts. Got a hand-me-down couch and there was no going back. Like, you know, and you know, and since then, Atlanta has given me everything. You know, my baby boy Christian was born here. Bought my home here. You know, been deeply entrenched on the front lines of the social justice movement here in Atlanta. And it just feels like it's a city that chose me. And I chose it back. And, you know, much of what you were saying, Chris, like it is a beautiful experience to see so much black excellence, black ownership, black leadership, black enterprise going down in one place. And it just offered a lot of promise to me, and I couldn't imagine that the things that I've accomplished or who I felt free to be could really happen in a different environment. Like, this is it, you know. Home, I think, is more than just where you're born. Many times it's where you choose to be and what chooses you to, and that's what Atlanta represents to me.
So I feel like Atlanta is kind of like the hometown of black excellence, and it's not like this everywhere in the country. And so if you look at the shade room, right, it can go one of two ways. Either you're like praising what black folk is doing, or you're like, yo, like what we doing? So it's like a lot people say like we hate a lot on like each other and stuff like that. So I think even when we grow up, I want to ask you guys, so how is it, like, did you feel supported by your community, or Was it like, oh, they hate on me, like they don't see me thriving, prospering?
It's so weird. I believe it depends on where you come from, right? I believe if I would have grew up in Atlanta, I would have probably had the same experience. But where I was from, you know, it's the hood. Like, that's what it is, you know? And when you make it out the hood, people will always have something to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to make it out the hood, people will always have something to say. And sometimes they won't support you, and the only thing that you'll have supporting you is your family and maybe one or two friends. And I think that's because they haven't been exposed to anything else. They haven't had a chance to see what life can be like outside of those walls.
Mm-hmm.
So they get upset and they get mad, or they start hating on you because they feel like you better than them, or whatever the case may be. And I feel like for me, it was something simple as me going to, because I played sports in high school. I was a 4/5-star athlete. I did all kind of events and stuff, whatever.
That's what stepdad came.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it was just something simple for me. People in my hometown city did not like the fact that I was going to school 20 minutes away. Like, it was like this whole rival thing. You know, I'm like, oh, you think you better than us because you're going to this school. Or you think, you know, it's something small like that. But it means so much as you grow, because you're like, why you just can't support me? Why you just can't, you know, be happy for me? And I think we don't, as black people, we don't see it often, so we don't know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know that we're pulling each other down because we're just so used to like trying to get it out the mud and struggling. Like, you think you doing better than me? You better than me? No, I'm making better decisions, and you can too. And I think that's the problem, that they don't get a chance to see. So that's for me. I know if I would have grew up in Atlanta, I love where I'm from now, but if I would have grew up in Atlanta where you see a lot of black people thriving, you see a lot of black people doing amazing things, then you feel like, oh, okay, it's possible. Let me push her to be better, because if she do it, I know she'll come back and get me. You know what I'm saying? I know she'll look out for me, or she may have to hire me one day. But if you don't see it, then how can you respond differently?
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, I feel like that's one of the reasons why a lot of black people kind of hate on each other, and probably when I was growing up, why they were doing it too, because they ain't never been nowhere. They ain't been exposed.
Yeah. No, I completely understand that, man. I will say that it may be my outlook on life, or just my mindset, but I've been blessed to always feel love in most of the things that I do. Especially like as far as family, like I have a huge family. Like I have 54 aunts and uncles.
Oh, I love
that
it.
I didn't know about. Like 2-3 years ago, my mom comes like, hey, I want you to meet your new auntie. I'm like, new auntie?
From where?
From where? He's like, yeah, grandmother's a Rolling Stone.
I love it.
And the West Indian families, everybody's
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm the baby girl of 10.
Yeah. So it's like, I've always felt love from my family and always felt some kind of support.
Yeah.
And as far as like my friends, like I go by energy. So if your energy isn't right, I'm always cordial to everyone I meet. I show love to everyone I meet, but I won't keep you close to me if you're not giving me that energy that I feel that I'm going to feel you, but you're also going to feel me back. Yeah. And as time went by, me going to school, high school in Georgia, and then going to Georgia State and being around the black excellence, like college, was going to school at Georgia State. That's in the middle, Morehouse, Clark, Georgia Tech, Spelman, like everything. Like I met enough people in each place that had that energy that I surround myself with. So the support has always been real for me here. Yeah. To be honest, so if I have the negative energy around me, I don't pay attention to it.
Yeah. You've been blessed.
Exactly. I've been blessed to be surrounded by positive energy and only focus on what you focus on is what you get and what surrounds you. So I focus only on the positive. So I'll say I'm blessed, man.
Same with me, really, like I look at support in so many different ways, not just financial. Like a repost is a support to me.
Yeah.
What?
You sending somebody to my website, you present an opportunity, you put me in contact with somebody, you mention my name, that's support.
The biggest thing.
Can I ask a question? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. So since we're on this black platform, like, are we supposed to support everybody that's black?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything. You know what I mean? Like I think it's like we only have so much to give.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I said, the whole I feel you, you feel me. It's like I'm supporting you. Are you supporting me
Yeah.
back? Are you giving me like
Right.
there's the I'm gonna you might get that 1%. It's like, oh yeah, I'll shout you out maybe
Yeah.
something, but I'm not about to give you 50
Yeah.
while you giving me 0.
Yeah.
I think it's a give and take of like people have expectations, but they don't really know how to move in the way of their expectations.
It's funny. I was having a conversation about kind of this notion more in the political realm earlier today. I mean, the truth is that our default should be to support each other,
Yeah.
but something being default doesn't mean you don't calibrate to do something else sometimes,
Mhm.
right? And we all know that all skin folk ain't kin folk.
Come on now.
And so we have to do a better job at being able to distinguish who among us is actually for us.
For us,
because
yes.
there are many people who look like us, but are
That
not
ain't
working to the benefit of our people.
Different
And correct. So by default, right, we should want to support our people, but we should be able to have some discernment between who is actually doing the work to help our community and who is actually part of the resistance against our upward mobility collectively.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think is really most important. But I believe we should choose us first.
Yeah.
100%.
Because I know like in Atlanta is very some energies are transactional. You'll meet somebody on a Wednesday, Thursday they're asking you for an opportunity. They're asking you to repost. You're like, hold on, I don't even know your mama name. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait a minute, I just met you. You know. So I always want to get somebody else's perspective.
No, yeah.
And I think we got to give to each other more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think like a lot of times people kind of come with their hand out instead of both hands reaching, so we can both pull each other,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I
That's the
mean?
give and
So
take, yeah.
even if someone's platform maybe is not the size of another, you can still be a value add.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, many times people are kind of looking just for to receive something and not seeing how they can be a value add in return. When we all have something to offer to each other.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I know earlier we were kind of discussing how one of my things I've been working on is learning how to say no. Right?
That's my struggle.
My struggle
It's
too.
my struggle. I want to, I was the person, black everything, I'm voting for everybody black.
Yeah.
But in 2020, I learned you can't vote for everybody black.
Yeah.
You got to understand what you're voting for, and if they're adding value to your life and how they're benefiting you, and what is it taking away from you? What's the opportunity cost?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like, if it's gonna be too much of a hassle on me to help you, we're gonna have to figure something out. Especially if you ain't pouring back into me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like now we live in a society, this microwave society, to where everybody wants instant gratification, and we need it. And if you ain't helping me, then blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What are you doing to help yourself first? And what are you doing to help other people? And how can we help each other? Let's figure that out and go from there. But I am now learning how to say no, because I was feeling like, at a point to where I'm supporting everybody's situation. And here I go, I am literally pouring in this cup, I'm pouring in this cup.
You're
Oh wait, come back again. Oh, pouring in this cup again, pouring in this cup again. Oh wait, come back again. I'm empty.
Right.
Who is pouring back into me?
And then your family, how you been?
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
And you still have these people over here who are still full and
they're still
telling other people who are now coming, expecting more with no value.
Yeah.
So how do you learn to say no?
Yeah.
And that's like, I'm learning how I can still be supportive, but from afar. And learning how to just say, I can't, I won't,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
maybe tomorrow, or I just don't feel like it. Because people feel like because you're black,
Yeah.
you're supposed to support, or because they know you, or because of whatever position you may hold, or title, or whatever it is, they're supposed to do something. I think people forget there has to be value, and you got to figure out, how can we pour back into each other? You pour into me, let me give you a little bit of that. All right. So you pour back into me, and we can all, benefit from it. We all eating, we all are full, or somewhere where we're
It's the visual.
I like visuals.
Yeah, I'm a visual person too, so I like.
But it's
And who gonna point to her?
something simple as I think people don't understand this because they don't see it, right? How will they? And that goes back to support, like we talked about from our hometowns. How will they know if they don't see it?
Yeah.
How do you
Some
expect a
people
person to love and support you if they don't know how to?
Yeah.
So that's my spiel.
So, I have a question. we talk about supporting the
He's like, man,
Let me get my cup back.
pour it back into yourself. And that's exactly what I want to talk about. That's exactly what I want to talk about, though. Mental health. So, like, how are you guys dealing with just being who you are, being the entrepreneurs, the dope people, change makers that you are, and staying as full as you can? Like, how do you manage that?
I'll let you know when I get there.
It's like ever, just like I feel like our journeys are always evolving. It's a ever evolving equation. You know what I mean? Like my balance might be okay, cool. I need to work 70% and then take that 30. But then the next quarter, I gotta go really ham.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta put in that 90%
Yeah.
and take 10 for myself. And then you know what? I kind of burned myself out. All right, I need to take 60 for myself.
Yeah.
So it's a ever evolving equation, and I had to learn that because I'm always trying to like, oh man, let me set my schedule. Wake up at 6, do this at 7 and 8, and it doesn't always work out like that. So, like you, last year taught me a lot about mental health, man. 2020 was real because with everything that was going on from George Floyd, of not knowing how I could help and stressing myself out and just mentally drained about everything that's going on, being empty but still wanting to pour back and understanding that, yo, you can't do anything if you're the one that's broken. Like my friend comes to me and he tells me, you know, what's going on in his life, and I start crying.
Cause you
Like,
guys know
how am I gonna help you
Yeah.
if I'm breaking down while you're coming to me for help?
Yeah.
And that shined a light on learning how to say no. I learned that back in December.
Yeah.
I finally cracked learning how to say no back in December, and that's why 2021 has been the happiest year of my life.
Yeah.
Like understands, like, I understand you have this going on, but I can't right now.
Yep.
I'm sorry. And say it with a smile. You know what I mean? And not feel bad about it because it's not that you don't want to help. It's just like, yo, I legit can't do it.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's keep
Or
this
not even
relationship.
can't. Just say, I don't
I
want
don't
to.
want to.
Yeah,
I haven't
want
learned to
to.
say that I don't want to. I just say I can't. I haven't learned how to say that.
We're working our way there.
Yeah, I'm working my way
I
there.
don't want to.
So it's like, it's really just a balance of constant evaluation, whether that be daily or weekly or monthly, of understanding what stage you're currently at and how full is your glass to pour into others at the moment.
Yeah.
And that, for me, has helped me a lot with my mental and just continuing certain relationships and seeing what relationships are toxic and that they just want to keep on. It's like, hey, I have nothing to give right now, but you keep asking and asking for more. This may not be what I thought it was until you fully understand that. I'm going to have to take a step back. You know, and just, it's a constant evaluation of relationships and just how you move daily.
No, I was gonna say one thing. I wish, but no, I feel like for me, just trying to live in the moment. You know, remind myself we're only in month 3, so because I'm high functioning, like I'm always trying to work on something. I feel like if I haven't achieved this goal and I got 12 other goals I'm trying to achieve, I ain't did shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
In
just
life.
in life.
That's how you say it.
Built Rome.
Yes.
Right, so just really try to embrace whatever you've done so far and just kind of like keep that, you know, that balance. So
I like to live in the moment.
Yeah.
I scream, I cry, I yell, I talk to myself. Like I do. If I'm feeling whatever type of way on that certain day, I'm about to live in it.
she's not lying because I follow you and I love it. I love it about her though. Like you're transparent as fuck. Can you cuss me?
It's like
I didn't know the response was
It's funny, I listened to one interview you did last year, and it was the exact same situation.
Yeah, sometimes when I get comfortable, I just start like getting too relaxed. I
Big
have
Pull you up,
But no, that's the thing I love about your platform because you're transparent.
Yeah.
I love that. So
I don't know how to. Yeah, I can't do it. Like I can't be anybody else. I can't fake it. And I'm such a true believer of doing self-assessments. And if you're happy, be happy. If you're mad, be mad. If you're angry or whatever it is, be that. But know that like your situation won't last. Like if I'm happy, I ain't gonna be happy all the time. It's gonna be some days where I don't feel like being bothered. It is what it is.
It's the handshake. It's the look.
Because people expect you to be perfect. They put you on this pedestal, or they put you in this category because you give so much energy. And, you know, and it's almost a little bit of a gift and a curse. Because once people get attracted to your energy, they want to see it all the time.
Yeah.
They expect it all the time. And everywhere you go, I need that. Give me this. Give me this. And every time anybody you come around, they're taking from you, taking and taking. And sometimes you just feel like, I'm tired of y'all taking from me now, goddamn. Like, hey, hold up, not supposed to roll. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I like to, if I'm angry, of course I don't share because I don't think nobody else deserves my mood, right? I don't share with the world, but I share with myself. I'm gonna talk to myself. I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna write down whatever's on my mind. Cause I write in my little journal, and I like to go back and read it like months later. And I literally, I don't even write like, you know, I'm literally writing to myself like, oh, today was also, you know, I literally talk like I'm talking to myself in the book. But I learned to live in those moments and understand that trouble will not last always and that things happen. But if you can figure out why they happen, sometimes we don't even know why they happen, but if we can figure out how to pivot and get out of that, I'm always talking about pivot, but if we can figure out a way to get out of that when we go through things and we deal with it, not just harping it, oh, I'm strong, I can take it, you know what I'm saying, don't nothing faze me, I don't care, I care, you know, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm happy, like that's what I do, and that's really how I'm able to stay alive, to keep my mental, you know, to keep me stable, because I'm able to just go through it and get through it without losing my brain, you know what I'm saying, and then also I learned, especially through 2020, I have to speak things into existence. I have to really tell myself, and I have to really legit how I speak to everybody else. Christina, girl, you got this. I literally have to encourage myself more than I do everybody else. And even when I get up, I'm always pushing myself. I gotta do it because it's so much stuff going on. In 2020, we had a bunch of stuff going on, a lot of different energies. And it's so easy for you to go on social media and you start reading the post, and the next thing you know, your heart, or you start feeling like the weight is on you, and now you're like, 20 minutes later, trying to figure out why I feel like what's going on?
Save the world.
And you're like, oh my God, what can I do? So I've learned to just start saying good things. You know what I'm saying? Putting good things in the atmosphere, putting good energy into the atmosphere, and then also not just manifesting. And I like to throw that out there. People like to just manifest, right? I'm just gonna speak it. But also doing the work.
It's faith with works.
Faith with work. You know what I'm saying? And just making sure that not only am I manifesting, which is speaking things into existence, but I'm literally praying for what I want. Because there's a higher power. And I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, but I also believe in doing the work and holding God accountable. He cannot bless you if you're not in the position. If you're out of position, He can't bless you. So we can be around here saying, oh, I'm going to get this big house. I'm going to get this big job. I'm speaking it into existence. No, you got to do the work. You got to lay the foundation. You got to stay in position so that He can bless you. So I learned with all of that, that's how I'm able to stay sane. That's why I'm able to like, you know what? God dang, 2020 started out great. It started off bad. And I feel like, what in the world? What is my purpose? But it's something sweet about knowing that God always has your back, and that if you stay steadfast and you stay planted, like I talked about, that pivot, and you continue to pivot and you continue to figure it out and you continue to speak things and do the work, God will bless you. Because in my fourth quarter, I was like, oh my God, it blew my mind. I went from not working for months, not knowing when my next check was going to come, how, what. I'm in my savings, they're just dwindling down. I'm literally pulling my hair out. I'm losing weight. I'm stressed out. I'm literally living in my depression. But nobody knows. And I'm fighting it because I'm like, come on, like, and every time, girl, you killing it. I just see you on TikTok doing videos. But I'm literally soaking in the fact that I cannot be who I want to be. And that's entertaining people. And that's doing what I love to do. And I'm now feeling trapped. But there's something sweet about God and about Jesus, just knowing that if you stay planted, if you do the work, and you figure out a way, and you speak those things as they were, and you continue to do work, God will bless you, because my fourth quarter changed my whole entire life. 2020 ended up being the best year of my life. 2021 has been, oh my God. If you can do that, come on. What are we doing, God? You telling me if I do the work, and the work is not hard. If I just stay in position, stay in my lane, God, what you gonna do? Are you sure not like that? Oh, that's what we doing? it will blow your mind. So I've been able to just saying as much as I can by just living in the moment. Understanding when I don't feel like being bothered, right in the moment, but still yet doing the work. So that's how I've been able to kind of get through 2020 and just be me and just learning how to just, today a good day, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know about tomorrow, but
today, but nobody will ever, I share and I tell my story, but I don't think nobody deserves, whenever I'm having a bad day, it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Exactly.
Who am I to go and throw all my stuff on you? Why would I? That's selfish. It's important for me to deal with what I got going on because energy is transferable. I come around you with this bad energy, now you mad, then you take it to him, and now he mad. All of us in here mad.
Right,
and guess what? We having a bad day. We going to shoot up and everybody else. We mad, we want to fight. That's not, no. We got to deal with what we have going on. If we can't deal with it, find a therapist. So, yeah, that's
Okay.
Right.
So, just to add on to that, like, my thing, like you said about diving into social media and letting that energy go into you, like, my thing has been since 2021 started is to wake up, stay away from this.
Yeah.
Do 10, 20 minutes of meditation.
Yeah.
Really tap into yourself. Do 10 to 20 minutes of yoga. And then look at your task list, plan out your day. This is what I'm going to today. This is the important things. And then you tap into the world. And doing that,
I wish I could do that.
It's been so life changing for me. And like journaling in the morning too. That's changed my whole perspective about life and how I go into people filled up already.
Yeah.
Because I've tapped into myself. I filled up my reservoir. Cool. Okay. Cool. I didn't get to 100, but I'm at 90%.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to tackle
Yeah.
the day. You know what I mean? And then then I come back home. I'm at 10%. Refill myself back in the morning. Once you get into that, like it changes the complete. Like you said, you don't go to people with that negative energy.
Yeah.
You don't give them the energies that you haven't prepared yourself
Yeah.
to give out for that day. So I wake up. By the time I start talking to people and whatever, like. I'm at 100% positive. What you got going on? Oh, you bad? All right. Like it just goes that way, and like that's so important of like being in your passion and understanding that the path isn't linear.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to pivot. Like I had to learn that too. It's like, okay, cool. I'm going 100 miles an hour right now, and then if something happens, I'm going 10. What's going on? Then I'm gonna start panicking. It's like, nah. It's just you have to go around this little roadblock right quick to get back on road, and then you go back.
Yeah.
And just really understanding that life is really when you're walking your purpose and you have that faith, and just know that there will be the downtimes where things slow down, and you just gotta go like, all right, God, I don't know what's going on right here.
I trust you.
But I trust you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick to it. I'm not gonna, pivot and just go get a 9 to 5. Instead of staying on what I know is my passion and my work, and I'm just gonna trust that everything's gonna work out.
Yeah. And you gotta figure out what works for you. What works for me may What
Yeah.
works for me may not work for
Exactly.
everybody else. I think it's important that we remind people that whatever you do, it may be great for you. That's your own mythology. Like, oh yeah, if I do this, it works. For other people, it may not. But people have to find what works for them. And when they find it, I think that's a true beauty because they know how they have that emotional intelligence to say, okay, all right, I know how this going. Okay, all right, cool. I can move how I need to move. And I think that's so important to remind people to know, like, hey, everything ain't gonna work for everybody. Find what works for you and stick at that. So.
Yeah. No, I think for me, it's a few words, man. It's joy.
In pain.
Sunshine and rain. Nah, it's understanding the difference between joy and happiness. Yeah. It's understanding what it means to have purpose, and it's understanding that you can't have faith and fear at the same time. Mm-hmm. So by the difference of joy and happiness is I think many times we're always grabbing for happiness, missing the fact that the word happiness is rooted in the word happen, which means that it's fleeting. You attain it and then it goes, and then you got to refill on it again, right? So it's not sustainable. But joy is the reason when we go to a family member's funeral, we can laugh, right? Because it's those things that are everlasting and that are sustainable, that we're grounded in, that keeps that emotion that can't be quelched by a bad time. But then you have the faith and the fear piece, where many times we want to claim to have faith, But as you said, when we have to crevasse around something, when we have to navigate around through troubled waters, we worry about drowning, right? But we're only able to walk across the troubled water when we maintain faith, when we're grounded in an understanding that better days will come. You know, I've been through some of the toughest experiences that I could imagine as a human. I had a daughter born prematurely at 24 and a half weeks and pass away in my hands. Like, there's no deeper hurt or pain that I could ever imagine experiencing. And so it's that understanding that no matter how dark that day was, there was fruit to happen on the other side of the thunderstorm. Yeah. You know, sometimes we want the rain without the thunder.
Come on.
Right? Sometimes we want the fruit, but we don't want to till the land. All right? But in order to receive the things on the other side, we have to make it through it. Right? You don't have a testimony without what? A test. Right? So those.
Well, okay, I'm about to write this stuff down. Instagram captions tomorrow. My Instagram captions. You want me a mental note?
But our purpose is the thing that really ties all of these elements together. You know, for me as a teacher, you know, I have days where I wake up and I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to deal with anyone. But I think the measure of us as humans in our experience on earth is qualified and quantified by how we make people feel when they leave the room, right? And so no matter what it is that we're going through, there are people who are counting on us. I know for many of us, like, you know, there's this notion of self-care and those type of things, and I think that's kind of grounded in centering the flesh. But I live my life centering my legacy. No one cares what pain you went through, how much joy you had, what car you drove, the clothes you wore, and all of those things, so much as they're going to care about how you made them feel, what you did to be a value add to their lives, how you've impacted the community around you, whether or not you helped others realize upward mobility together. It's those things that are going to supersede all of that. Christ walked but 33 years on earth. Pop lived but how many years on earth? Big lived but how many years on earth? Nip lived for how many years on earth? These people will resonate with us throughout generations and forever because of the impact that they left. And I think sometimes, and this may not be for everybody, just as you said, we all kind of have our own thing. But I live more for my legacy than I do for my flesh. And I think for me, that's the thing that keeps me full. So no matter how tired I am, last night we were protesting at the Fulton County Jail, Rice Street, everybody know here in Atlanta, because they had locked up my sister Park Cannon, Representative Park Cannon, for knocking on the door of the governor, fighting against the voter suppression bills that they just passed, SB 202. And you know, I'm sitting. Shout out to Seesaw, Black Home Restaurant. I'm sitting at Seesaw. I got me a shot of Douce. I had a salmon fillet on the way. I had just ordered it. I flip on my IG Live while I'm sitting at the bar by myself. And I see my people down, you know, at the jail trying to get her bonded out. So I'm like, dang, I'm like, hey man, let me get that in the box, man. Pay my little check, tip my man my 20% and rolled out and pulled up. Again, didn't get home till about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm dog tired. But still woke up to be present outside the governor's mansion today to make some noise about what had occurred. So it's that the thing that fuels me is that purpose. It's that knowing that there is a deed to fulfill. I have rent to pay here on earth. I have to make my deposits for my ability to experience beautiful souls and spirits like yourself. But that requires some work along with that faith. That requires some work in order to experience that joy. And it's all grounded in what are we doing for us. And I think if more of us decenter ourselves and we are more grounded in our collective, you know, this individualism is not something that is native to us as Black people. We don't come from a people who lived solitary.
They was together, groups,
hundreds. Correct. We are villagers.
Right.
And we have to begin to behave like that collectively again. We've adopted too many patriarchal white supremacy methods of living where individualism is lauded. But in our culture, that's not who we are. In fact, we come from maternal societies and not patriarchal societies. So we are living in a deviation of who we are. And that's why we're having such a hard time as a people. But as we remember that, number one, our women are the center of it all. and number two, that we don't exist without us. And so as we return back to our true nature, then we will start to have more joy, start to realize more promise, and start to bring a fruition of collective upward mobility. So
Alfred Shivy for
you
counseling.
Before people,
We're with
nah,
it.
man. Because it's like one thing you said, man, makes so much sense. It's like figuring out your purpose, and I think that's the hardest thing to do because you're on social media, you're surrounded by people that's really evolving in their space, so you feel like that's your lane, that's what you should do.
Mhm.
But my boy over here is a crazy ass DJ, but I can't go up there and mix, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna buy new equipment, you know.
Yeah.
But I think once we really figure out our purpose and then create a plan to stay in that lane and have fun in it, sky's the limit.
yeah.
We talk about like supporting Black businesses and things of that nature, and I just kind of want to talk about like financial background. Like, when did you guys learn about financial literacy, financial health? So on the last episode, we kind of made the difference between financial literacy and financial health. Literacy is what you know, health is what you do, how you're taking care of your money, and basically just want to ask her, like, when did it become like important? Like, when did you know, okay, like I gotta think about my money and things like that nature?
November 17th, 2020 for me. Like, I read that yesterday. You know, I had sat down with this millionaire, and he was just really educating me on business credit. Because with my business, I have a for-profit and a nonprofit, but I've been operating like under my own expenses. So learning like business credit and getting a secure business credit card and understanding like the billing cycle and how to evolve in that space, like that's something I've never done until like last year. And from there, man, like there's so many other opportunities for my business because of that conversation. So mine was last year.
I would say, I don't have an exact date.
No, I'm sorry.
But it was definitely after college, trying to understand, it's like, okay, one, not understanding how I had a whole apartment and living my life off of $12 an hour.
Man.
You know what I mean? Like, God was working miracles. Working miracles and like, you know, understanding, you know, as we get older, we get more responsibilities, and it's the bills that the lifestyle that we want to live and understanding about living under my means versus, you know, trying to be flashy for everybody. Like, yo, I have no interest in that at all. It's really about the comfort in life for me.
Yeah.
So I would say about like 24, 25, I started to get more interested in like, okay, how do I buy a house? How, like, I'm looking at $200,000. Like, yo, I have $1,000 in my bank account. Like, how is that even going to happen?
Yeah.
And learning more about credit and leverage and getting more into stocks for me was like 27. So I'm slowly but surely like really learning financial literacy, and financial health really happened for me around that 27 age, to where I started making more money. And then I started learning how to manage what I had. So until I had it, I didn't know, you know, what I was gonna do with it. You know what I mean? So once I had it, it's like, okay, cool, I'm getting a great amount. Like, I can live my life however I want to, but I don't want to because I know everything comes in season. So I might be getting this right now, but 2-3 months from now, you know, it might not be here.
Yeah.
So I think it started with like different goals. A small goal, well, maybe that's not a small goal, but like, all right, cool. By the end of the year, I need to save at least $10,000. I need to invest at least $5,000.
Small
I
is
said it's
relative.
not.
Like,
Right. Maybe that's not smart.
No, don't try to make it seem like that's big. Like, to most people, they can't even save $500.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's big. So never downplay the fact that you can save 10,000, you know, in the room of anybody. Like,
that's
because I would not. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I learned. I think I had my eye openers when I moved to Atlanta with $3,000.
Shoot, 3,000. I had a little 200. Yeah, I was like, we straight.
But I had no job. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was in marketing. You know, I was doing brand ambassador work, and I was trying to figure like, okay, how am I do this? And here I am thinking that the prices of apartments was gonna be $600.
Yeah, it's so now.
Not anymore though.
They set me up.
Not anymore.
They set me up big time.
Yeah.
in the job to where when I look back at it, I was trying to figure out how in the world did I even survive? Like what you said, like literally it had to be God. Cause I'm like, how did I go through the whole year? I only made $14,000. But I was able to, hey, God, it blows your mind, but you learn how to budget, right? And you learn about financial literacy and how to budget and how to make sure you got this taken care of and how can I do this? But okay, if I get this credit card and get these reward points, they give you cash back. You know what I'm saying? Like figuring out how to, you know, you start learning, and now I've gotten to the point to where I'm like, oh, I'm making money. Like, now I'm learning how to make money, make money. Yeah, make my money, make money, and be responsible with my money. I never was like an irresponsible spender or anything like that. I've always been like, I want to keep all my money. You know what I'm saying? I want to just see how much I can get. Right. But I am now like investing, right? I'm figuring out, okay, let me make sure I have this life insurance policy over here. Matter of fact, let me go grab another one of those. Let me put some in stocks. Let me put some here and here and here. So and you just learn. And I think for me, I learned. That probably came about, I don't know, maybe like a year or two ago, not during the pandemic, but a year or two ago, because I'm just like, I know it has to be more, right? I know I have to, eventually I'll make more money. Like 2 years ago, I didn't think that I would make nowhere near as much I make right now. I was like, there's no
Man.
I would have never thought. Nobody could have told me, even if they wanted to pay me 6 figures. I'd be like, hell no, that can't happen. And then to see it actually happen, like, oh, it's possible. Man. And it goes back to just knowing that it can happen.
Email twice.
So, you be like, y'all want to offer me what?
Added an extra.
Yeah.
And
then other stuff start happening. So then you have to learn how to manage your money. And I don't know all of it, but I'm still learning. I have other people now managing it, trying to make sure it's right. But it's all a learning process. All the things we do, especially when it comes to money, because for so long, Black people were never taught how to make money, how to handle money, you know, how to build a legacy for their kids and build generational wealth. We were always trying to, you know, we're going to buy this, we're going to spend a line for these Jordans, we're going to, win this $1,400 check coming. You know, like, we shouldn't even be screaming about getting a $1,400 check.
Like, that's going to change life.
It's crazy, but we've been conditioned that way. We've been conditioned to think that, okay, we need these handouts. No, we got to figure out a way. If I do this and I work really hard for this, and I can build generational wealth here. If I continue to build my legacy and teach what I know to everybody else, then everybody else can win. You know what I'm saying? If we can get a group of businesses here, hey, you got 10,000, you got 10,000. Hey, let's get a group together. Now we got a whole investment group. Let's go buy a property together. You know what I'm saying? That we can leave to our kids. But nobody really teaches that. But I think now you have more people of color who are now starting to push that. So we're learning more. So it's all a learning experience. Like, I'm still learning. Like, I am literally still learning every single day.
Yeah, I would say I'm still actively learning myself. You know, I teach financial literacy to high school seniors.
They didn't teach that when we was in school.
Right.
No, they had it.
But let me tell you though, my financial literacy class is more of an entrepreneurial master class. Rather than just teaching them how to handle money that they like, how I'm gonna get access to, I'm teaching them how to access money. And I think that's where like really we have to start. We have to, you know, one of my big whys in education is to dismantle the notion that we teach our students to be good employees for other people.
Come on now.
Right? Like, instead of being job takers, we have to have a shift in our thinking to be job makers. I always tell my students, your boss ain't never going to pay you enough to be a day maker.
Nope.
Ever. And for me as an educator, I remember my first year teaching, man, I made $27,000. Like, it's hard to imagine what financial literacy even means or matters to be when you're just trying to figure out how to pay the bills. Like, right? You're just trying to survive. And it was interesting. You said, you know, we've been conditioned to be that way. And I would take that a step further and say our conditions are that way. 2% of Americans own 80% of all the money. 2% of Americans own 80% of all the wealth in America. Right? So really at the end of the day, we're scrounging for little things, and we get mad at each other like, why are we being crabs in a barrel?
Yeah.
But crabs were never designed to be
In the barrel. Come on,
right?
man.
So we this is not where we're
should write a
supposed
book.
to be.
Like, oh,
Mind blowing, right?
How about you holding up my check?
I
It's like 10 captions. I'm just keep adding.
Go on.
Make sure you
Make
shout
a caption
out.
book.
Right.
Go ahead and make a caption book.
We definitely have to have a shift in our thinking, and for me, I'm evidence like the pandemic made me. It changed everything for me. At the very beginning of the pandemic, I remember being on Instagram Live with my students and telling them, yo, over the course of the next few months, the future millionaires and billionaires of next year, of next decade, of the next 5 years are going to be made now. There are problems that are existing in this world that need answers, and here is an opportunity for us to capitalize on that and be the owners of that intellectual property and position ourselves for generations to come. Now, some of my students listen, some of them didn't. Some of my peers listen, some of them didn't. But I definitely listened to myself. And it's not just a matter of what I did, but it's also of what you said, positioning myself to receive God's favor. Now, that's not to say I did everything perfect, but it's to say that in the month of June, I made more than 4 years of my teacher's salary in 3 weeks. Which then turned into an opportunity to do what we said, make our money make money, and creating other platforms and other opportunities and other things to where, you know, I went from being like, dang, I wish I could make $55,000 a year to being like, yo, I'm trying to make $1 million this year.
Come on now,
Different mindsets, evolution.
Yeah.
Like,
Once you
bro.
break a certain, you break through a barrier you thought was unreachable, or like, yo, how I'm gonna do that, and you break it, it's like, oh, well,
I can do that.
what's that?
Bro,
What's that?
like-
Yeah.
But there's things for us to learn as a culture. I had the benefit of, you know, my father's a black Morehouse man, former Panther, NAACP member, etc.
Yeah.
Well, my stepfather's a white dude, conservative, Trump supporter, right? So there were things that I learned through access and proximity to my white father, who I'm close to, by the way, right? Not conservative or anything.
No, but that's
We
good.
butt heads.
But you-
Well,
Yeah.
it gives you
You give you
insight
different
to
perspective,
things.
yes.
You
Yeah.
learn
Yeah.
things like, okay, I can give each of my grandchildren, and this is what his father does, I can give each of my grandchildren up to $12,000 a year, right? And have that not taxed. And now it takes away from my taxable threshold,
Man.
right? So they're having to pay less tax on their income, right? It's things like people see the car I drive and it's a nice car or whatever, and they're like, dang, how a teacher driving one of them? Dang. But y'all don't understand, like I leased that for my business and it is a tax write-off, and now I'm bringing down the threshold of my tax liability through the vehicle I'm driving that you're impressed by, but I'd rather drive it than give it away to the government.
Knowledge is power.
So it's those type of things about being smart about our money. It's about teaching our students that, you know, we should be building up our communities and not selling it and then being mad that gentrification happens.
Come on now. Tick tock.
I bought my home in 2011 for $128,000 as a foreclosure when everyone was selling their house. I went and bought a house. That same house today is worth over $500,000. You can't move in my neighborhood under $500,000. So now you're talking about all that equity.
Yeah.
And what do we see? A bunch of neighbors and people moving in the neighborhood, jogging down the street who don't look like us, and we wondering where did they come from?
Yeah.
It's because all the neighbors have sold their house,
Yeah.
missing the fact that they're not even politically involved in what's going on in the community to even know or to help plan what is to come. So now I got the belt line annexing in my
Come
backyard.
on now. Come on now.
Because I sat down in a meeting and had a conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now you talk about another $150,000 of value just because of proximity to
The belt line.
So
The
you ain't
belt
even have-
line. Some don't even got the money for.
you feel me? That I ain't have to pay out of pocket to see happen. Well, actually, we pay it through our taxes, but we don't get involved in the process to make sure these
Yep.
amenities
Yeah.
have proximity to us.
We don't have no time. Yeah.
But we better make that time,
Mhm.
because how long is it going to take you to make that $150,000 in that job you're getting paid
Come
for?
on now. Not even nowhere near close.
But you could have sat down for 15 minutes in that NPU meeting and helped plan out where that
Where
belt
it
line was going to go.
Yeah. And how it's gonna benefit you.
Correct. And we got to be a part of the process. And this is what people in other communities are doing. And it's also where we have elites who look like us, have been doing for a long time, and kept a concentration of that wealth to themselves. But now's the time to dismantle all of that. Now's the time for us to share this information. Because not only should we be attaining this information and employing this information in our own life, but we need to be disseminating it and making it a normative understanding among all of us. Among all of us. There are communities that are going to be having many of these developments and things happening just in our own city that we must be aware of.
Yeah.
Because it's coming one way or another. Mr. Scott, who owns the Met, has so many developments that are going to be popping up around the city. If you just go buy some undervalued piece of property next to one of his future developments, the value of that property is going to go up instantaneously.
But a lot of people don't know, how do you get people involved, and how do they find out, like, where do they go? Like, what's the first place? Like, if they want to get into that, where would they go?
For us, I mean, just think about this. We spend more time on Instagram than we do on Atlanta.gov. We spend more time on Twitter or on TikTok than we spend looking at where our next NPU meeting, neighborhood planning unit, is going to be. And these are the people who look just like us, who you're standing next to in the grocery store, who are making the decisions as to what zoning is going to happen in your neighborhood, what the curb cut going to look like in your neighborhood, whether or not you get some paving over there, whether or not you get whatever amenity, whether or not they're going to keep running power lines through your thing and start burying them. Right? These type of things are happening right there in our neighborhood. And right now in this COVID day and age, it's all on Zoom.
Yeah.
You ain't even got no excuse.
You can go in your room and say,
you can just tap in right now. They got,
so no excuse.
No excuse whatsoever. Our city hall meetings are happening on Zoom. Our school board meetings are happening on Zoom. All of these things are happening right a click away. You don't even have to physically be there. But it's a matter of will. And I think, honestly, it's a matter of our elected officials and those people who know to share the importance of it with us. That's where they got to get out of their silos and start coming to the people and tapping in with us. There are more millennials and Gen Z than there are any other demographic in America.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I love about Atlanta, because there's a lot of millennials in those positions that you're in that's really educating us on this. So
yeah, but unfortunately not necessarily in elected positions. The majority of the people who are elected and making decisions are baby boomers.
True.
People who have been here during segregation.
Yes. So they're used to what they're used to, but it's time for us to kind of shake that up.
Correct. And it's not to say they don't have the space,
Yeah.
but it's that they need to share more space.
Yeah.
They need to share more space. Correct. They got to make room. And it's time. And honestly, no power is going to acquiesce their threshold and their hold on power without someone demanding it or taking it. You know what I'm saying? And so that really looks like not just myself, but other young people who are running, being supported by our community, being championed by our community, being financially supported by our community, so that we can bring in more of this presence in these spaces. And as we do that, I'm telling you, like, it's going to change everything. When you want to open a restaurant, that makes your life easier. When you want to get that clothing line store or something like that, it makes it easier. When Stan and them want to not be leasing a space but owning a space, it makes it easier for them. And so that's what that looks like. But we got to really do the work. I know it ain't sexy to sit in on an NPU meeting, a school board meeting, a city hall meeting, and whatnot. But it's real sexy when you see the fruit of being present in those spaces. So we have to, I think, really help each other kind of see what the outcome is and what the value add is. And so that's why I'm just trying to do my part. But it's going to take all of us.
This is big.
Because I think like when Jordan turned blue, are y'all familiar with this page PTO School or something?
Yes.
Like they went ham on like trying to just document that stigma. You know? So I think they were getting kind of
Nah, they were perpetuators of the stigma.
That's why I hate that page. Like I try not to. I don't follow Shade Room because I feel like they perpetuate more negativity than positivity.
I mean, it's all they're all in cahoots. I think it's all a ploy to show black people in a certain light, because of course, once you get paid, like Shade Room started out real cool. I don't know if y'all like Shade Room was for the black people, like real. Once that money started coming in and people realized that they were a big platform, I think they're being controlled by something else, because it wasn't genuine. It didn't feel like, oh, okay, yeah, let me go see what's on the shade. Now it's like, oh, we want a shade room.
Exactly.
Like, God, even ballers or shade room is like the new media takeout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I done hit the shade room a couple of times, and every time when you get that phone call and they're like, yo, you just got put, I'm like,
Oh,
wow.
Lord.
You feel me?
I need Wi-Fi. What's the Wi-Fi?
It's
Yeah.
the why, but I think a lot of that, what ends up getting put there, we have a responsibility for.
Yeah.
First off, we got a responsibility for certain things resonating with us, right? Like I was just talking with somebody about this. I mean, I got videos on my page that got about 500,000 views on them and things like that, but it'll be like me riding on my one-wheel board or something like that, right? So they love that. But if I'm at a protest,
Come on now.
if I'm at a demonstration,
You keep scrolling.
them views is down, right? They ain't as worried about that. But like, I'm fighting for your right to vote.
Yeah.
But that will resonate with you less than me riding on the one-wheel board on the belt line, smiling, and I got my bro behind me, and he got his shirt off, and you like what he look like, so you want to share that, right?
Oh yeah, we was protesting.
Big guy.
Facts. So we have to honestly be more disciplined ourselves. We have an immaturity in terms of what we appreciate in terms of within our culture that we really gotta address.
Yeah.
Like we gotta really kind of recalibrate. Like, what matters?
Yeah.
What matters to us? And unfortunately, look, we got a lot of friends who are major influencers who forget the tens of thousands, 100,000 and the M's,
Yeah.
right? But they're only going to promote or put out things that they know resonate with people, and they know that those movements and those type of things ain't necessarily it until they get in some trouble.
Yeah.
Until something go down, and now they need that presence.
Come on.
I need you to go protest because
Then it's
this gonna look
different.
good. This gonna look good.
Yup, then it's different. So we gotta hold each other accountable for what we're tapping into.
I think I was gonna say, because it starts with the self with that. So it's like, how do you get someone else to develop that mindset? And like you said, it's gonna be accountability.
Correct, and we gotta expose it. Like, shoot, the school page, right? It's run by a white Republican girl, woman, young
When I
woman,
learned that, I
Yeah.
was like,
Right?
I told y'all.
who is not for us.
Not at all.
Oh, she's not.
And now they changed the tune when they got
Yeah.
exposed.
Yeah.
Shout out to Isaac Hayes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? Like until they got exposed for what the real purpose of that was, and it goes back to the first part of this conversation, the black on black thing.
Yeah.
It's real easy to push that. It's real easy to sell that to people. It's real easy for people in Atlanta to go see black on black crime with the city predominantly black.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
The poverty, we live in one of the most economically divided cities in the country.
Yeah.
In the country. Our rich got it, and our poor don't.
Yeah.
And it stays that way. It stays that way because we don't create opportunities for our south side of Atlanta. We got this split. It's like when you cross 20, it's like a whole different world.
Yeah.
And we're not addressing those issues, and so the same neighborhoods are staying poor for forever. We
One
gotta
of you
break that.
guys actually has this thing on his IG bio, educate the hood. I think that's so powerful.
Yup.
Like if we can educate the hood,
Yup.
we can change the world.
Correct. Shout out Scotty Smart. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Whose shirt I'm wearing, by the way. My
And
brother.
I changed the shit up here.
Yup.
So to wrap it up, basically, I got this one last question. If your younger self lived in 2020, what advice would you give them?
If my younger self lived in 2020,
2021.
2021, like today.
Yeah, today.
If I was 12 today,
What would you advise yourself? How would you
Educate
navigate?
myself on finance, like financial literacy, like learn more about credit cards and how to use it, okay, memory, like all of that.
I would educate myself on, of course, financial literacy, but I would learn emotional intelligence. If I was 12.
Bars.
I've learned that if you learn how to respond and how to react and how to govern yourself accordingly, you're in control of a lot of things that will happen to you and for you. So if I was 12 living in 2021, of course I would learn financial literacy. I would be like a little Bambi, bushy tail, bright eyes, because I want to soak up as much information as I can. And I would learn how to deal with adversity and learn emotional intelligence. And I want to try everything. I would, if I was 12, I would literally want to try and do everything. Be the best little girl without no regrets, without nobody telling me, you can't do this, or girls can't do that, or girls.
Yes.
I would literally do everything. And I would have my friends all doing, we'll have our own business at 12, lipstick, lip gloss, something. I don't know what it is, but we'll have our own business. So we can learn early, so that I wouldn't be at 35, 36, 37 trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So that would be big if I was 12.
I'll piggyback off of what you said. Mine was going to be not to live in a box.
Yeah.
Like to understand that you're in a very small fraction of the world, and you gotta explore and see what's out there to understand who you are as a person. So the second one is learn who you are before you try to become somebody else.
Yeah.
Because we get lost in this world, like we're trying to do this, trying to do that, and it's not for us, so it's not working out. We're not happy, it doesn't work out for us. So be okay, be okay with being yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. You're young as heck. You know, you have a whole life to live. Failure is a part of life.
Yeah.
So learn to be okay with failure. Don't be so hard on yourself, and just do what makes you happy, and have faith, and you will go to where you need to.
Come on now.
It's funny you said that because
that resonates with me
Yeah, that
because, you know,
resonates with me
That is real, and I think everybody.
let me be great.
Come on.
Bring us home, bring us home.
Bring us home, bro. Come on with it.
Y'all see this? No, I think I would tell my younger self, you're enough already.
Yes.
I think a lot of us feel like we got to change something or do something different in order to have credibility, and I think that's a big lie. I think I would teach my younger self that ownership is king, and so too with content.
Yes.
You know, if a lot of us kind of hold back on sharing our light with the world because we don't think it's bright enough, but missing the fact that, you know what, yo.
Just walk out. Just walk out.
Yes.
I need this audio. I need this raw.
But yeah, just that, you know, we are who we need. We don't have to wait for someone else to save us. We don't have to wait for someone else to pave the way for us. And to just stay true, be authentic, for good or bad. Let no man or woman count too much with you, and don't lose the common touch.
On that note, all right.
Right.
Wrap it
That's
up.
real.
So-
You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, but thank you guys so much. Literally, so the reason why my team and I started this podcast is because of people like you. So Christina, Shivy, Unruly, like my spirit is literally jumping, like overjoyed right now, just everything that y'all share. So thank you so much. Keep doing great things. I appreciate, I admire your love of community, what you do for people today, people tomorrow, people next generations. I'm taking notes. Every single one of y'all. YouTube. I'm taking notes, so I just appreciate y'all giving y'all the flowers and keep on.
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Black on black, my back so black, I'm black, my skin is so black, I'm rocking that black on black is black. Rims on this black, wheels in this black, wheel with this black, so black on black.